I told y'all that this dude do not know what the hell he is doing. But y'all thought I was bullshitting. What is going on, my Patriots? How y'all guys doing? Welcome to another edition of, you guessed it, Joel Davis Media Network. This your host, Joel Davis. If it's your first time tuning in to the broadcast, do me a favor. Go ahead on, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell up top. Please like and share. Please like and share. With that being said, we're going to jump into this. Guys, oh, guys, we have been talking about all this week how the prices in America has gone sky high. And we as Americans don't even know what in the world has happened. We are still in a culture shock. But with this latest report from Breitbart, it really goes into detail about how within a year of this man's presidency, plus, we have now reached a 40-year high of inflation. Let's jump into this article and break it down. And I will also give you my thoughts afterwards. Inflation reaches a new high as consumers' prices jump 7.9%, highest in 4 decades. Inflation climbed to another 4 decade high in February, with prices expected to push even higher on the back of soaring energy prices following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Department of Labor said the consumer price index rose 7.9% compared with a year ago. Prices were up 0.8 percent compared with the prior month. This is the ninth straight month of inflation, about 5%. Prices rose at an annual rate of 7.5% in January, jumping 0.6% from December. Economists had forecast CPI to rise by 0.7% for the month and 7.8% compared with a year ago. And it shows you right here on this index right here by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. The index for all items less food and energy, often called core CPI, rose 0.5% in February. Compared with a year ago, core prices were 6.4%, the fastest pace for the measure since August of 1982. These figures do not take into account the recent surge in oil and gasoline prices. Those are likely to push inflation even higher in March. Although many economists and anti-Trump journalists claim President Donald Trump tariffs would rise prices, consumer prices remain low throughout his administration. Trump's tariffs turned out not to be taxes on consumers. Instead, they were absorbed by Chinese producers and exporters and the profit margin of most large U.S. companies. Inflation only began to accelerate last March after years of coming in below the Fed 2% target. Mm, isn't that interesting? Give me 1 second. Lost my place. The had a decision to keep interest rates low throughout the economy, although the economy was recovering at a faster than expected rate. What's more, the Biden administration pushed billions of dollars of deficit spending in the American Rescue Plan. These combined to fuel demands for goods and services faster than supplies could expand, pushing up prices. Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell, following the advice of many of the economists on the central bank staff, initially claimed that the inflation was due to transitory uh, factors. Fed officials forecast that inflation would fall in the latter half of 2021, predicting that supply chains would swiftly unsnarl and a rebalancing of consumer demand from goods to services, from relief pricing pressure. The Biden administration, under the tutelage of former Fed chair and now Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, largely followed suit and continued to press for even more spending. Establishment media largely parroted these views, portraying the surge in inflation as a temporary shift higher due to the reopening of the economy. Many establishment outlets claimed they had no rational basis. Some of the same outlets that had claimed without evidence that Trump's tariffs were raising prices now insist price increases under Biden were no big deal. Some said there's a silver lining of inflation would be higher wages. In fact, prices have been rising faster than wages, lowering the standard of living for many American families. And the hardest hit has been lower income Americans. That unanimity in government and establishment media proved calamitous. Inflation continued to soar, sapping the credibility of Biden administration and the central bank when it came to inflation. Last year, Fed officials dropped the word transitory from their vocabulary and began signaling that they would raise interest rates this year. Resistance from the centrist Democrat Joe Manchin to spending more while the economy was suffering from decades high inflation killed the Biden administration's push for so called human infrastructure. Spending bill that it advocates has touted as the signature legislature of President Joe Biden and the greatest of government since FDR's New Deal and LBJ's Great Society. The public of President Biden's competence has collapsed. Many Americans interpreted the administration's confidence that the inflation would pass to be a sign that it did not care about the hardships inflicted upon families paying more for gasoline, groceries, and Christmas gifts. Attempts by the administration to blame corporate greed for high prices fell flat. Although the Biden administration announced the biggest ever release of oil from the government's emergency reserve, a norm defying dip in an asset normally held tightly and used only for events like natural disasters or wars, oil and gasoline prices have continued to rise to the highest level in years. Polls show that the public's rating of Biden's handling the economy is at a record low. Biden's overall approval rating has plummeted. 45% of Americans say inflation has put a strain on household finances. The Federal Reserve is expected to raise its target interest rate at its March meeting next week, months earlier than market watchers thought last year. Analysts now expect the Fed will hike rates at each of its seven remaining meetings this year, up from expectations of just three or four hikes. Yikes, guys. This is horrible. Very, very horrible. We are really at a crisis in America right now. 7.9% for inflation. That's been 42 years since we've seen something like that. That's a long time, guys. That is a long time. Excuse me, 40 years. Gas prices is going high for a fourth consecutive day. Now the national price is at 4.31. $4.31 is the national average right now. Gas is going to be so high. Shout out to my man Jericho. I wouldn't be surprised if that joint do hit $20 a freaking gallon because they said it could get as high as $300 a barrel. And nobody is, and you got these elitists saying that we should be happy with this because we are helping out morality for Ukraine. Yeah. Who is getting invaded by Russia? Okay, I'm finna help y'all out. Newsflash. I don't give a fuck about Ukraine. I really don't. Sorry, I don't. I don't give a fuck about Ukraine, Zelensky, any of those motherfuckers because I don't live in that country. I'm worried about America. I'm also worried about why in the world that we are out here putting all this energy into other countries instead of the energy on trying to make sure that we as an American people continue not to suffer. When can we get that from the administration of Biden? Mr. I'm the best at foreign policy. We got politicians like AOC who being asked about gas prices and they walk away. They don't want to discuss that. That's too much. Oh no, let me walk away. No, it's no time to walk away. We want answers. Y'all guys was doing all this was doing all this energy whenever Trump was in. Why can't you give us answers now? What is the difference? What is the difference now? Oh, I get it. I get it. I know why you don't want to talk now. It's because now you got what you wanted. You got the old guy out of there. The orange man is gone, so you're good. You don't give a shit about America. Because the orange man was exposing you left and right, and you got tired of being exposed. And then we have people like Saki, aka Raggedy Redheaded Ann, talking about that the Keystone Pipeline is not going to matter about lowering the price of our oil, which is dumb. The Keystone Pipeline was what it is, the keystone of lowering our gas, giving us some relief because we would have more reserve. We're spending more in oil now in other countries than we ever had. Then you got the nerve to tell these guys, well, y'all need to pump more. Oh, the permits that we got, they got permits available. Oh, well, let's talk about the permits, Saki, that y'all keep saying. How are these guys going to be able to get permits when you got so many strict rules for them to get the permit? And the permit has to be basically where they're not drilling any. They can't go anywhere where there's plentiful oil. They can only drill where there's minimal oil. So how the fuck are you going to produce more oil when you got to drill in places where it's minimal when you're supposed to be drilling with places where it's plentiful? Minimal, plentiful. There's a fucking big difference there. I don't know, guys. Like I was telling my wife the other day, it's gonna be to the point that all of us are gonna be riding bicycles. That's what you're gonna see in the highway. Bicycles. Not motorcycles. You're gonna be seeing electric bicycles. People pedaling fast as hell get from point A to point B because of the situation in America. You know I ain't lying. But anyway, y'all jump in the comment section. Tell me what y'all think about this inflation. Your thoughts. Uh, do you think that gas is going to continue to rise? Do you think we ever going to get a break? Y'all tell me what you think. Please like, share, subscribe. I love y'all. I'm out.